Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the CSGO Clutch Podcast, sponsored by PrizePicks. My name is Adam Cohn, I'm your host. Once again, I apologize if you hear like an echo in the background. I'm working with a temporary setup. But we are happy. Dan and I are back. Dan, what's going on, buddy? What a very interesting day of Counter-Strike today.
It was, Adam. It was very interesting, and just, I watched pretty much every single round of every single match, and there was some good stuff that happened. So
Excellent.
I'm happy.
Well, you can definitely fill us in that. I did not get a chance to watch really any of the games today, so you can fill us in on that, and we'll talk about what was it, like 5 overtimes on one map?
Yeah.
I'd be wanting to take a freaking nap afterwards.
Okay, so I actually lied. I did not watch all of that.
Okay. Was it 6 overtimes and you fell asleep with the 6th one? I can totally understand.
No, I think I had to go to the grocery store. My phone, and I think my phone died while we were in line. That's why I might have missed.
Shout out Main Event DFS Discord. What do we tell Dan when we see low battery? Charge your phone! Oh boy!
Always Mr. Interpret though. He is the stickler for charging your phone.
Dan, I remember was the Main Event DFS Discord, and it's been like a little internal thing. So sometimes when Dan sends pictures over or like lineups or whatever's going on Draftkings, and he has like low battery power, everyone like tilts at him to like charge his phone. Well, not everybody, but some people do. Anyway.
Yeah.
The CSGO Clutch Podcast is sponsored by PrizePicks. Head over to prizepicks.com. Use the promo code CLUTCH. Again, that's promo code CLUTCH. New depositors get a 100% deposit bonus up to $100. It's a fantastic, fantastic promotion. A lot of good stuff going over on PrizePicks. And Dan, we're going to get into it. We're actually going to start off with recapping the winning lineup from the previous day's main slate, as we always do here on the podcast. And I actually find this rather interesting. So I'm going to zoom in here for the viewers in case you can't see it too much. So Paul Valley takes down, solo takedown for $2,000. Captain Kensei with Flit, Jame and Yakindar and Elan and Nickelback. Nickelback went absolutely ham. But then again, anyone in that game went absolutely ham.
He was particularly sharp, though.
Yeah, but for $5,000, 91 DK points at 8.9% ownership, he smashed.
Yeah, definitely. Imagine captaining him. That probably would have been
interesting.
I don't know who else you would have been able to fit. But...
anyone you wanted.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe it would have been too much.
I mean, we see some interesting lineup construction. Going back to what we were talking about yesterday on the podcast, we were talking about how 4s were a really good play. We talked about how Kensei was too cheap, and you could have paired him with anyone else. Like, we liked everyone from that team. If I just pull up HLTV real quick, we had 3 players that scored over double digits.
4s looks good, or Akuma actually was cheating, and now they're not.
So, I mean, we had 3 players. Flit was plus 16, Jerry plus 15, Kensei plus 12. Zordy is the one surprising one who was plus 1. But then again, when you actually look at what Zordy did, like, Zordy's the opera of this team, and the riflers were just going off. Jerry is very much in play going forward. Again, I wouldn't go super heavy on Jerry, but 50 and 35, he was the highest fragger on 4s. I know, shocking.
Yeah. You know who did not? Almazer, unfortunately, did not perform as we hoped.
Well,
or as I hoped. I did play him, so
I mean, when you have people drop 50, 46, and 46, and Akuma did not put up really any kind of a fight on overpass, losing 16-4. The double overtime on Inferno, really helped out players here. So Inferno was pretty interesting. So if you take a look at both sides, Flit was 25 and 23, Kensei 27, 23, Almazer 24, 23, Jerry was 27 and 25, and Zordy was only -5. Inferno is a very interesting Operas map. A lot of just tight corners. So, I mean, overpasses where Jerry went off and Flit went off and Kensei had his +8. And Zordy was 13 and 7. Again, so like Zordy not getting there in a day where three of the riflers went off, it doesn't surprise me. I mean, there's only so many kills that can go around.
Right.
So I mean, Force was a really good play. We had James and Yakindar. Shout out to you. You called the Yakindar core play yesterday. And we knew, and VP ended up losing that game, but James and Yakindar were still optimal. James definitely was optimal at 78, 20, and 51. The 20 assists also for Yakindar bailed him out. And then Elan and Nickelback. Nickelback had his insane day, and Elan doing what Elan does and showing why he's one of the best operas in the world. And he went 90, 18, and 76. No bonuses and still gets 90 points. But again, that game was 5 overtimes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this Entropic team can go. They can really go. So
that was their second match of the day too. They pretty much played like one right after the other.
Yeah,
so
and
they played for probably 12 hours.
Mm-hmm. So I mean, Entropic won Nuke 31 to 29.
Yeah.
5 OTs, 5 of them. Team Spirit 16 to 9 on Dust 2, and then a closer one on Mirage 16 to 13 for Team Spirit. And there's why. You know, you see everyone on Team Spirit. No one was negative. Magisk was even, but Mir went off. Dexter did fine.
Oh, yeah.
Mir went 95 and 79.
So Mir was minus like, I think he was like -5 going into the Mirage. So he wasn't doing so hot.
Mir went +15 on Mirage.
Okay, so he was even.
Mir was +2 on Dust 2. I'm sorry, on Nuke. On Dust 2, he went -1. But again, like you take into account the frags, 45 and 43 on Nuke, and then he went 17 and 18 on Dust 2. And then heading into Mirage, he goes 38 and 18. So I mean, it all just broke his way. We'll get into Team Spirit, and I really don't want to say core play, but probably one of the closest things we're going to see to a core play on the slate. Core and value at the same time. Is there anything else you want to discuss here in terms of, lineup construction?
Yeah, I think what is not here is important.
Mir not being here is important. And obviously, I'm sorry, Dan, did we bury the lead? Do you see any Gambit in the winning lineup?
Exactly. No.
There's no Gambit. But then again, let's take this into account. Because of that 5 overtime map, Team Spirit and Entropic were the ones that you had to have in your lineups.
Right, but still a game stack that wasn't optimal.
Correct.
I mean, it probably was, but it wasn't played. The optimal wasn't played. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I mean, like
if you look at Michael B. Cool, I think he had a game stack.
He had, and again, we said to not do a game stack. And I mean, he only lost by 0.5.
No, we did. I think we did say maybe a run back from that match was okay, but that was probably a 2-1, not a 3-1.
I advocated against any kind of run back, but I mean, hey, a 3-1, that's, it is what it is. Had that instead of Zordy been Kensei, he wins.
Oh, yeah, by a long shot. 20 more points at least.
Mir optimal, Elan optimal, Chopper probably optimal, Flit probably close to optimal. Kensei probably close to optimal, or not even optimal. Like, Nickelback was probably optimal. James definitely optimal. So, it's just a matter of what was the winning lineup construction, and this was it. So, shout out also to Nevin here for taking 3rd and 9th in this. Shout out to Chris Lamb for taking 4th. Shout out to Cheese is Good for taking down 5th. Anything else you want to talk about here before we get into the slate?
Nope, I'm good.
Excellent. Before we get into this slate, Hit that like button, folks. We had 7 likes yesterday in this day's video. Let's see if we can get to 10 today. Again, really helps us. Dan and I want to try growing the podcast, and we're very grateful to all of our fans and all of our listeners out there. So thank you. And hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell next to it, and also leave a comment down below. Tell us who you're on, who you like, who you don't like. Did you win money? Are we helping you out? With that, Dan, let's get back into this slate here. So yeah, leave a comment down below the video. And that notification bell, hugely important, making sure you all know and you get notified every single time one of these podcasts drop. So Dan, here we go again, another 4-game slate. Love it.
Get it.
All right, we start off here with Entropic versus 100 PG. I mean, I understand 100 PG won. I mean, I have interest again in Smiley, Winter, and Iceman. Probably more Smiley and Iceman than I do Winter, but Winter's also fine. I'm all over Entropic. What?
Yeah, there's no way. There's no way that they pull off another upset. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no. I mean, congrats to them.
Congrats.
That's no small feat. Saying you beat Virtus Pro 2-1. No small feat whatsoever. But I'm right back on Entropic here. Elan, Forrester, Crad, Lackey in that order. Forrester is interesting because he's 9,200. I don't mind the Elan one-off. I don't mind playing Elan, Crad, Lackey or Crad, Lackey, but I would definitely be higher exposed to Elan, and if you want to just do a one-off of Elan, I'm perfectly fine with that.
I'm gonna say Forrester and Nickelback would be my combo.
That's totally fine. Nickelback being the player that he is not someone I'm absolutely looking for to get in any kind of my lineups. Like, I mean, we also saw Inters, double-digit positive today. Like, you can play him. I have no problem with it. He's just my least favorite. But at 6,400, he's not as cheap as he was yesterday.
Right, but he looks pretty sharp. He's got some firepower. I'm telling you, he
does. Horrible.
But I wouldn't want to chase it for sure because this guy can completely tank too.
Yep.
And like you pointed out, it could have been a function of 60 rounds of Counter-Strike is why his score was so.
It's possible.
High,
but this Entropic team is really good.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Is there anything else to talk about from this game, or are we playing Entropic and moving on?
Yeah. Sorrow isn't a horrible play at 4,000 either. He had some good rounds. That I noticed today. So just saying.
Min plays fun play. Don't mind it. But yes,
4,000.
Yep. So everyone from Entropic are in play for Dan and I, and for me, I'm prioritizing the first 4 over Nickelback. But again, that's more of a personal choice. But I would like a lot of Elan exposure for sure, and actually like Crad second, Forrester third. More of a gut feeling, and it's $1,000 savings, which we're gonna need on this slate.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, Dan. Do we want to skip game 2 and get into game 3, or should we address the elephant in the room of game 2?
Game 2 is going to be the beatdown of the century. Like, if they can get 16-0, they will.
Yeah. All right.
Absolutely.
Well, Dan, let's talk about it. It's Gambit versus Akuma. Why did I say that it was the elephant in the room? It's because Gambit is the one that sounded I think that they are cheating alarm.
So did Zordy, by the way. Just saying. Via
Zordy.
Twitter.
Okay.
I think Zordy was actually one of the first ones, but
was he?
I don't want to.
I thought it was after Akuma's match with Gambit when Akuma upset Gambit that Gambit was like, "What?"
Yeah, I'm sure that. I think that was the match, but I think Zordy was the vocal one.
Well,
I'm just going off my memory. So
yeah, no,
it's not that important.
Well, I mean, we saw Fours crush them yesterday, so I mean, maybe there is some truth to that, but Now we have the number 1 ranked team in the world going against Akuma, who are going to be rightfully, pardon my language, folks, they're going to be rightfully pissed off. This is their first chance to have a match with Akuma. I expect Gambit to stomp the crap out of Akuma. I expect them to show them no mercy. I expect them to play this like they're playing Heroic, like they're playing Astralis.
Yeah, definitely.
I expect them to go out and crush. Inters is one of my favorite value plays and GPP plays on the entire slate.
Oh, interesting.
No, it's not recency bias. It's not recency bias. This is a support player on the world number 1 going against a tier 3 team. I have interest at 6,600, and we're going to need value. We're going to need to get different with Gambit stacks. Gambit most likely is going to be the most popular team on this entire slate. And they're a core stack for me on this slate. Do not overthink this. You play 2 Gambit and move on.
Axel's going to be like 100% owned at that price.
8,600 for Axile is insane.
He was like 80% today. I think he had the same price.
Well, let's go back to this Gambit and Amiga game. We're going to get into Amiga beating Navi in a little bit. Oops, did I say that out loud? We're going to get into that a little bit. I want to point out map 2. Okay, so Amiga beat, Gambit on map 1 on Inferno 16-14. Fine. I want to point this out. Gambit arguably are the best Vertigo team in the world. And Amiga took them to overtime. That says a lot.
Dude, they're legit. They're good.
So, 16-3 on Dust 2. I don't know if Namiga just ran out of steam or what happened. Now,
they got owned on the T. They're on Gamma's T side. They just couldn't. They couldn't do anything on the CT side. Which, that's always a clear evidence of a much stronger team, which Gambit is on their,
So, dude, if you factor in recency bias, right? Axile went plus 17. Hobbit went plus 17. Inter is plus 13. You know who went negative? Shiro. He was minus 3. 44-47 isn't bad. But at 11,000 yesterday, we said there was some logic to being underweight to Shiro. Anything can happen. So, I'd get right back on the Shiro. Yeah. I'd get right back on the Shiro bandwagon here.
I do too.
You're just gonna have to make a decision because you probably could only play one of Shiro, Simple, and Elan. Oh, and Mir, Hobbit. Pricing on this slate is insane. So, Dan, I'm just gonna read some pricing real quick. Shiro's 10,800. Simple's 10,400. Elan's 10,200. Mir's 9,800. Hobbit's 9,600. Electronics 9,400. Forrester 9,200. That's everyone over 9,000. I want to play all of them.
Right.
I don't think we can. So I think you got to make a decision and take a stand. Are you playing Shiro? Are you playing Simple? Are you playing Elan? All I think are fantastic plays. For me, Shiro is the cash play. Elan's the GPP play. And Simple's someone I'd be underweight on. Because we're going to talk about Namiga Navi later on in this podcast. I really like the Namiga side of that game. Or I just bounce as a one-off without spoiling it in advance. Dan, what on earth are you doing with Gambit and Akuma here? Because I think everyone from Gambit's in play, but the pricing, it makes it very difficult.
I really like Shiro. I just think it's a much better. They're going to crush them. And in cash or in single entry, you're going to get the value. I know it. I just know it. So I'm going to leave it at that. I don't think that I could pair him with anybody else, though, other than maybe Inters, maybe Nathany. So it most likely would be a one-off Shiro for me.
So a Shiro one-off for you. Can I interest you in any Inters at all at 6,600? Any at all?
Yeah. No. I didn't. Oh, did I not say that?
I may have
Hold on
missed
one
it.
second.
I may
Hold
have
on one
missed it.
second.
Some technical difficulties, folks. We'll be right back. In the meantime, I'm going to talk about the Akuma side of things. So, on the Akuma side, I have interest in Sensei, and that's it. If you want a 2-stack at Sensei and DemQQ for me, no interest in anyone else from Akuma. I mean, this is, I feel like, going to be one of the most surest games we're going to see the entire time. I have really no interest in Akuma. If you want 5 to 15% exposure for stacks or one-offs in a 20 max or above, I'm fine with that. But I'm absolutely stacking 2 Gambit. They're my favorite stack of the day. Stack 2 Gambit and move on. And it looks like we're still waiting on Dan's technical issues here. I want to talk a little bit here about Nafany at 7,800. He's a great GPP play. But at the same time that Nafany's a great GPP play, 7,800. It's just, I don't know what to do. Like, I really don't know what to do with him on the slate. If we think about what Nafany's done over the last couple of games, I'm going to go to his player page. Let's take a look at what he's done. So we're just going to go online for Nafany. We'll go over the last 3 months. Actually, you know what? I want the last month to play for him. So, again, overall, Nafany's been really, really solid, right? So he's got a 1.07 rating, a 1.21% impact rating. He's got a 0.94 kill-to-death ratio, but he's got a 77.4 ADR, 0.67 KPR. We talked about this yesterday. We talked about the fact that Nafany is a player who loves to go and take space, and he loves to get information for his team. He's the IGL for Gambit. And 7,800 is something that's a really tough price tag. If we actually get into the matches, take out the stats for a second, we get into his matches. Versus Namiga, we already went over that. Narvi was -4. He was 35 frags. Okay? Versus Navi again, and I think it was the grand final. He was -1. Versus Complexity, he went +6. Versus EG, he had a bad map 1. But he rebounded nicely on map 2. So I kind of think there's a little bit of variance there. But more often than not recently, we've seen Nafany not do as well over the last month of play. And if we look at the last time he faced Akuma, he only had 29 frags. Gambit won the game. But if we head back here to this game, let's take a look at who fragged. Hobbit went nuts. Alright, Hobbit went 23, 3, and 10. He had a 95 ADR. Shiro, 22, 5, and 12. Axile, 16, 6, and 9. Nafany was negative. 15, 6, and 18. It's not bad. And Inters was 10, 2, and 11. Now, if we take a look at what we saw last time, we saw best of 3. We saw a 16 to 5 Mirage and a 16 in Overpass. Akuma didn't really make it competitive. So, I don't know what to think about these guys. Like, I go the last couple of months, like, they faced Akuma twice. And if we take a look at that, Nafany was positive in that game. So we take a look at this game. The game for the Akuma, they went 25-23 on Mirage and 16-4 on Vertigo. Again, we've said how many times that, you know, Gambit are the best Vertigo team in the world. So, let's take a look here. Inters was +13. Again, I really like Inters on this slate. Oh, sorry, it was just Vertigo. Let's get the best of 3.
I'm back. Sorry.
Dan has returned to the podcast and cut off my solo monologue. Rude.
Oh, I'm sorry. Continue.
Rude. I was just going over Nafany's stats with the fans here.
Okay.
So we can see the first time they faced Akuma, Axile went off, Shiro went off, Inters was +9. We go back to the other one, where I have the right one highlighted. We take a look at this here, and we see Inters was -1, but he didn't really need to do much. Hobbit went nuclear. He was +26. He was 47, 7, and 21. Axile was 36, 12, and 18. And Shiro was +13 with 34, 9, and 21. and Nafany was -4. So Dan, I was talking about the Nafany $7,800 price tag. How I say is a great GPP play, but
Yep.
7,800 is a very tough ask to play on the slate.
Yeah. I mean, let's set the. I mean, he's not like so. He's the IGL, right?
You got it.
We're expecting a beatdown. Usually, the IGL is lurking in the corners, waiting for maybe a clutch if need be.
Right.
So
Well, like
I
again,
don't.
like Nafany's style is is taking map control and getting
Map control.
information.
Getting information. So I mean, he could do well, but I don't see him like popping off. I just see
I
what
mean,
other guys do.
if you just look at everything in June, he hasn't hit a double digit positive once. The last time he was double digit positive was May 27th versus Team Spirit. It was +15.
Yeah, which makes sense in my mind because they're a tougher team. But
I think Napoli's fine for large field GPPs.
people like to play him too, so I think he gets some ownership, especially because it's just Gambit and.
I really like Inters, but I was talking about Akuma, also Sensei and DemQQ. Ones of interest
No,
in. Sensei is a fine one-off, 5 to 15%. I wouldn't go crazy over either of them. 5 to 15% for each.
you shouldn't play them just based on principle either, because
Agreed.
they're fucking cheaters. Oops.
Oh, language. It's all good. Anyway, and they're alleged cheaters.
Sure. Hampus said it. If Hampus says it, it's true. So.
Oh, okay. We've spent way longer on this game than we needed to, but
Yep. Next.
I am glad you're back. Hope everything's good and we get your technical issues figured out. Hobbit at 9,600.
Too much.
I'm playing him. He's my favorite from Gambit, regardless of price.
Oh, it's such a big ask.
It is a big ask. I'd be fine fading Shiro and Simple, getting Elan and Hobbit and building around them. I know it's a very tough ask. Hobbit Inters is going to be extremely unique for what it's worth. So again, I want $5,000. I don't want to min cash. What's going to get me there?
I think Hobbit Inters is a good call, but I mean, don't go crazy. If you're doing
right, like let's give us like if you're MMEing, you want Shiro, you want Hobbit, you want Act, you want everyone from Gambit.
Yeah, combinations.
Single entry. Who's your favorite Gambit?
Shiro, one off.
I would agree with that. All right.
This feeling is there. So
let's get into another quick game. It's Team Spirit versus K23.
Could be good.
Yep. All right, Dan. I teased it, and I want you to talk about it. Chopper is as close to a core play for me on this slate, and core and value in GPP as we're going to get in this slate. He's $6,000.
Yeah, he's gonna be extremely chalky, but not. I mean, it's practically a free square. So
I would lock in the free square.
Yeah. Definitely.
I mean, look, we locked in Kensei the free square yesterday.
Yep. I would say Chopper was too. It was a double free square.
Yep. So I'm going right back to the well. I think Chopper's a great play. I have no interest in K23. If you do, go with Norber and Mao. Why is Adren listed for K23?
Wasn't he just playing with him?
I thought Adren's coaching Team Liquid now.
No, I think there's two Adrens.
Are there two Adrens?
Yeah. I didn't realize that until recently.
Two Adrens. Two Nikos.
Yeah, that's not the Adren that's coaching.
Huh.
But he is. I mean, look at it. Look at his resume there. It's pretty.
It's a big resume. Right. This.
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is the same. Adren.
Oh, there were two. You were right.
There you go. Yeah, that's the
There's your Adren, the liquid
slate.
coach.
Huh.
So he's only ever like, well, he's got some stats. Anyway, this isn't the Adren podcast. This is the CS:GO Clutch podcast, and we're talking about Team Spirit and K23. Dan and I don't want to go down a rabbit hole and have everyone shut this podcast off, or it'd be 2 hours long. Dan, what are you doing with this game?
Probably gonna stick with the Spirit boys. They don't mess around. They're not gonna let K23 have an inch. So.
Are you going with the free square and chopper?
Yeah, definitely.
He opens up a lot like Kensei did yesterday.
Right. Exactly. Yep.
And I mean, like, we just need Chopper to get 100 in the captain spot or like 60 in the flex. Right? Like, we don't need him to go crazy, but he unlocks a lot of the top guys.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Kind of like an SUY and Chopper mix.
See, I like Chopper Mir.
Yeah.
I think it's another Mir day. I also don't mind Dexter either. Dexter could have a field day against K23.
Yeah, that might be a good play, actually.
So I have to figure out what works in my lineup, but I'm probably going to captain Chopper.
Yeah, I don't foresee a 5 overtime map with these guys, so I think two Spirit is plenty.
Yep. So, all right. And again, K23 for me, the ones I have interest in are Norber and Mao.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Mao's good.
Yep. Everyone from Team Spirit are in play.
Actually, Nealon would at 5,000. Nealon's not bad.
True.
He can get to 50 points.
Yep. All right. So everyone from Team Spirit's in play for me. You?
Yeah, definitely.
Excellent. And again, I don't want to rank them. Just Chopper, Mir, Dexter are my favorite top 3, and you can really interchange Mir and Dexter. I don't mind going Chopper, Dexter. I don't mind Chopper, Mir, but I think we just lock in Chopper somewhere in our lineups. Even if he's a one-off, he just opens up so much salary.
Yeah, I agree.
Not 100% lock, but I'd be overweight on him for sure.
Yeah.
Alrighty, Dan. Here we go. 4th game on the slate, and it's going to be another one where it's right up in the air. It's Nemiga versus Navi. Now, the people out there, Dan, are probably saying, what is he talking about? It's the world number 2 in Navi versus Nemiga. What is he talking about? I think Nemiga upsets Navi 2-1.
I agree. They look great today, and against Gambit, who did not. I wouldn't say let them win the first map, and they held their own on Vertigo, which was pretty incredible. So
yeah, again, going 15, getting 15 rounds and taking Gambit to overtime on Gambit's arguably their best map. They're the best Vertigo team in the world, in my opinion. Nemiga gets there on Vertigo. Again, 3 rounds on Dust 2, but still. I think Idis Balance is one of the best large field GPP plays on the entire slate. He's a value at 6,200, but I think he is one of the best large field GPP plays on the entire slate. And this is where, if we're playing Gambit and we're playing Team Spirit, right, we need to get different somewhere for large field GPPs.
Yep.
And even single entry to a point, right? Like, we don't want to go too crazy. But I can see a one-off Idis Balance in a single entry if you want to get different. I also don't mind. I can easily see that the winners of these games should be Entropic, Gambit, Team Spirit, and Navi. I can see the upset in Nemiga versus Navi. So what are you doing, Dan, in this game? And especially, what are you doing for single entries?
So this game actually reminds me of yesterday with Spirit and Entropic, where
You got it.
pretty much everybody's in play. And a run back of somebody is doable either way.
Gotcha.
Simple. You could do Idis Bounce, Gio, and Simple, or maybe Gio Box Simple. I don't like Electronic because his price is too high and he's just kind of sucked lately. I mean, not lately. He's done well recently, but just overall, he hasn't been the best. for 9,400. I can't do it. But which makes him a good play for GPP purposes. So yeah, I would say pretty much anybody on this entire game is in play.
I like it.
Yep.
For me, anyone from this game is in play with the exception of Box and MDS.
Okay.
I just don't see it. Not against Navi. And I would also say no run backs for me.
So for the people that listened to our show yesterday, this means play box, play MDS. You said the same thing about Nickelback.
Listen, if Nickelback beats me on one slate and I make money by not playing him on the next 5, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I wouldn't chase the logic for sure, but
no.
You never know.
But I do think Namiga does upset Navi. Now,
Yeah, I agree.
This isn't something that we can be predictive of in DFS. But we saw 100 PG with the upset over Virtus Pro on this past slate. No one from 100 PG for DFS purposes was optimal.
Right.
VP were optimal. It's very possible we see simple optimal. Or we see a perfecto optimal. Or an electronic optimal. Or a bit optimal. Maybe even a boomage optimal.
That's a really good observation, Adam. That even though they were upset, that the two guys came in.
Right. Now again, this is not an indicator of DFS success. It's not.
Right.
But it's something to keep in mind. For me, the only ones I have any interest in on this slate, I Disbalance 1, Lollipop 21K 2, Joe 3, and that's a maybe. Again, Large Field GPPs, I want the 5,000. If Namiga defeat Navi in a pretty dominant fashion and they're positive, and they have anywhere near decent stats, they end up could be optimal. I try win 5K. Like we need to think of ceiling. What gets you unique? What embraces variance? And what gets us closer to the takedown? If I want to min cash, I'll just go play a cash game.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, so let's get into it. Let's go to our core value GPP and favorite team stack segment. Again, folks, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. That way, there every single time one of these podcasts drop, every single one of you know when they will drop. Hit the notification bell. I just said that so long. I'm tired. It's late. And leave a comment down below. Dan, core value, GPP, favorite team stack. What do you got for us today?
Core, I'm going to go with Forster.
Really?
Value. Yeah, dude, Forster's legit.
Interesting.
And they're playing 100 ping God, so they're going to crush.
So you got for value?
Actually, you know what? For value, let's go with Chopper, and GPP, I'm going to go with Hobbit.
I like it. And what were you going to say about Forrester? Or Entropic?
I was about to switch to Axile for core, so I'm going to go... Can I have 2 cores? So
you can have 2 cores. I'll give you 2 cores.
Forrester and Axile.
Okay, so it's Forrester for Entropic and Axile for Gambit. How about a favorite team stack?
Spirit.
Not Gambit?
Nope, too expensive.
That's fair. Alright. Like I said, as close of a core play for me on the slate is going to be Chopper. And he checks the boxes off for core value and for GPP. In terms of value, I Disbalance checks the box for value and GPP. Let's take a look. What else do we have down here? Sensei is a value. Mao is a value. Norber is a value. Inters. 6,600. Also with GPP play. So Inters is one of my GPP plays. I Disbalance as well. Favorite team stack for me is Gambit. I'm not gonna just don't get cute here. Let's get to our prize pick segment here, Dan.
Okay.
And on the board, we have a lot to pick from already. So
Nice.
pull up your prize picks. Tell us who you got, and we got a grand final on this. It looks like we got a Order versus Renegades as well.
Cool.
What do you got?
For whatever. I would go Kai under 39.5 against 1 win.
Got it.
And then, let's go with Ins over. I think he can.
I was
do that
thinking.
in
I
future.
was thinking ins under. I like that call.
Really?
You're figuring
and
you're
then-
averaging 22 frags a map. Can ins do it? Sure.
Yeah. He could have one big map too,
You got it.
which I think he will.
Who else you got here?
Let's go with. Go with Lackey under. That's a pretty big line for him.
Got it. All right. Mezzi 41.5 under. I feel pretty confident about that. Dreamer 40.5 under.
Hello?
Simple 45.5 under.
You gotta do it under. There's no.
That's such
Well, there
a
isn't.
high line.
It's so high for 2 maps.
All right. Dan, any final thoughts on this slate? Or sum up for us, who are your top 3 favorite teams to target from? Actually, no, it's the 4-game slate. Give us your top 2 favorite teams.
Spirit and Entropic.
So Spirit and who?
Entropic.
Okay, so Spirit and Entropic for you. Gambit and Namiga for me. Thank you all for tuning into the CSGO Clutch podcast. We will be back tomorrow night, maybe? We will see. And we look forward to seeing you all for the next main slate. Good luck on this slate. Latest, peoples.